नमस्कार, गुड मॉर्निंग फ्रेंड्स ऑन संडे। हर संडे की तरह वी आर अगेन हियर विद वन न्यू टॉपिक, वन न्यू एक्सपर्ट। आज हम इनर चाइल्ड हीलिंग सीखने वाले हैं विद चंडीगढ़ बेस्ड कोच सहर, जो हमारे प्लेटफॉर्म पर पहले भी आ चुकी हैं। एंड दैट टाइम वी हैड डिस्कस्ड चक्रास। तो डॉक्टर संदीप, इनर चाइल्ड के बारे में आपका क्या ख्याल है?
नमस्कार डॉक्टर रंजन एंड सभी दोस्तों को बहुत बहुत हार्दिक अभिनंदन। इनर चाइल्ड का मतलब सबसे पहले डॉक्टर रंजन, आज कितना अच्छा दिन है, चिल्ड्रंस डे है और हम इनर चाइल्ड के ऊपर बात कर रहे हैं।
वाओ।
तो 14 नवंबर को इनर चाइल्ड होना कोई कोइंसिडेंस नहीं हो सकता। इसके पीछे कुछ ना कुछ तो ऐसा रहता है। अपने जो हम सेशंस रखते हैं उसका एक रीजन रहता है। इनर चाइल्ड का मतलब मैं जो समझता हूँ इतना ही है, अपने अंदर के बच्चे को तंदुरुस्त रखना, उसके माइंड को तंदुरुस्त रखना, उससे प्यार करना। और आज का दिन ऐसा है जब हम सीख सकते हैं, चाहे हमारी
अपना
लेकिन हम लोग चाहे हमारी एज कितनी भी हो सकती है, हम लोग 10 साल 20 साल 50 साल 90 साल कितने की हो सकते हैं, लेकिन हमारे अंदर का जो बच्चा है वो कितना खुश है, वो कितना प्यार पा रहा है हमसे, तो इनर चाइल्ड है। होता क्या है डॉक्टर रंजन, हम जब बड़े हो रहे होते हैं तो कहीं ना कहीं हम अपने इनर चाइल्ड को, अपने अंदर के बच्चे को या तो दुख देते हैं, या उसको कुछ लोग तो एकदम कॉर्नर में रख देते हैं, या कुछ लोग उसको भूल ही जाते हैं। वो कोई एग्जिस्ट करता है, उसकी कुछ केयर करनी है। और इनर चाइल्ड का मतलब ये भी मैं समझता हूँ, हमारे बचपन में जो ट्रॉमास होते हैं वो कभी हील्ड नहीं होते हैं, हम उनको हील नहीं करते हैं, उनको अटेंशन नहीं देते हैं। जब उनको अटेंशन नहीं देते हैं, उनकी केयर नहीं करते हैं, तो बोलते नहीं है एक छोटा सा जख्म होता है नासूर बन जाता है। तो उसकी मैनिफेस्टेशन अलग अलग ढंग में जब अडल्ट होते हैं तब होते हैं। वो हमारी साइकोलॉजी के अंदर, हमारे एटीट्यूड्स के अंदर, हमारे बिहेवियर्स के अंदर रिफ्लेक्ट होता है। जो खुद वो इंसान होता है वो समझ नहीं पाता ये बार बार चीजें क्यों हो रही हैं, ये ऐसा क्यों हो रहा है, मैं ऐसा करना भी चाहता फिर भी क्यों हो रहा है। लेकिन उसका रूट कॉज है वो कहीं इनर चाइल्ड में हो सकता है। मैं तो सिर्फ इसके बारे में बात कर रहा हूँ, लेकिन आज हमारी जो स्पीकर हैं, जैसे डॉक्टर रंजन ने बताया, पहले भी हमारे प्लेटफॉर्म पे आ चुकी हैं साहर। हम बहुत डिटेल में बात किया था, जो लास्ट सेशन था हमारा चक्रा सिस्टम के ऊपर, बहुत डिटेल में था। तो बिना टाइम लिए हुए साहर जी, आपका बहुत बहुत स्वागत है। यू आर वेलकम ऑन आवर चैनल स्पिरिचुअल डॉक्टर फॉर होलिस्टिक हेल्थ, एंड वी मस्ट से दैट प्रीवियसली आल्सो यू हैव कम ऑन चैनल। वेलकम टू योर ओन चैनल स्पिरिचुअल डॉक्टर फॉर होलिस्टिक हेल्थ।
Thank you, Dr. Sandeep. Thank you, Dr. Ranjan. It's a pleasure to be here as always.
Just I want to tell our viewers that Sahar is a coach. Sahar बहुत सारे सेशंस लेती हैं इंडिया के डिफरेंट डिफरेंट पार्ट्स में। और साहर बेसिकली इंडिया से बिलोंग नहीं करती हैं, लेकिन कुछ ऐसा हुआ, साहर इंडिया में ही रह गई और राइट नाउ वो बहुत सारे जिंदगियों में फर्क डाल रही हैं। और उनकी बुक ट्वाइस बॉर्न बहुत ही अच्छी बुक है। साहर के बारे में जानना चाहते हैं, पर्सनल लाइफ के बारे में जानना चाहते हैं, तो बुक पढ़ लेंगे। इट्स ए काइंड ऑफ ओपन एंड ओपन फॉर एवरीवन। ओवर टू यू सर, आपको कैसा लग रहा है फिर से चैनल पे आके? हाउ यू फीलिंग आफ्टर कमिंग ऑन आवर
It's
चैनल?
always a pleasure, and I'm really grateful for the opportunity because, as coaches or therapists, or at least for me, it's so important that people have the information and the knowledge so that they are empowered and they are independent of anyone, like a therapist or a coach, and they can handle their life. So this platform offers that to a lot of people, and that's such a great honor for me to be here, to be able to share whatever little I know.
Same here. Over to you, Coach Sahar, Inner Child.
Thank you. Yes. So hi everyone, and thank you for your time on a Sunday morning. It's actually interesting that today is also Children's Day, but the inner child that we want to talk about is a little different from the child that we know. So let's get into the topic, because the topic is too vast and we have not so much time. So let's understand what is inner child, and why is it important that we understand and have a clear understanding of this topic and how would it help us. So inner child basically is a terminology, and it doesn't mean we are talking about just the child. We are talking about the span of this lifetime from the time of conception till even 5 minutes before. So this whole span of this lifetime is called inner child, and we are talking about everything that happened in this lifetime that caused the person to perceive life in a certain way and then react or respond to life incidents, happenings, people, and then creates what is today's life for that person. Let's say if I was a child and I saw, my father telling me, if someone called, he told me that please tell the person that I am not home, even though it seems like a white lie. But as a 5-year, 6-year or 7-year-old child, when I see this happening in my life, then I may develop a trust issue that I don't know if people will tell me the truth. Is it even important to ask anything? Because I don't know if the answer would be the correct answer, So these are the small little things that happens during the inner child. And then now I'm going to go into depth of it. So what is important for us to know, and what I want to share today is that these stages of life where the child is getting developed are so important, because even as per psychology, we say that till the age 7, the child has already developed a personality. And henceforth, it is only additions and it is only variations of the personality that has already been developed. Now, it is so important that the child is brought up with a sense of security, with a sense of belongingness, with a sense of, I do have a voice, individuality. So these are the parts of the inner child which are very important. However, the inner child as we know it, we means metaphysical therapists, we are a little different from what psychology says. We go a little deeper. It is the study of the subconscious mind that is the base of what we do, not the conscious mind, not the characteristic, not the personality traits, unlike psychology. So we want to go and understand what caused the person to behave in a certain way or react in a certain way or have continuously 3, 4, 5 bad relationships, one after the other. So then we understand. So for us, it is that go and hit the subconscious mind. So the inner child is the study of the subconscious mind through the developing stages of an individual. And this continues. It is not that it stops, at age 7, 14, 21 or whatsoever. In fact, in every 7 years, a new part of the subconscious mind is getting developed. And it is related to our chakra system, which I spoke the last time, but we don't have time to do the correlation here. But I will want to actually address 3 aspects of inner child today, which are extremely important. One is the sense of safety, and the sense of safety is developed till the age 7. Now, what does safety means? Safety means when I, as a child, feel I am safe, secure, I am not judged. In my environment, I am accepted for who I am, no matter how many mistakes I make. I am loved and appreciated just because I am here. So this is the kind of safety a child needs. It's not just having an environment and providing a bed and food. That's not how safety looks to a child. Safety is that even if I make a mistake, I can go back to my mother and she will still hug me. So what happens is, what goes wrong in this area is that we tell our children, if you want my love, you need to finish your homework. If you want the appreciation of the family, you need to be a good boy or a good girl. Now, what happens is the child starts developing a trait to want to please others so that he or she is feeling loved and he or she is accepted by the home environment. Now, if a child is coming from a compromised family, let's say the child witnesses any form of abuse, it can be physical abuse, sexual abuse, it can be watching parents, having emotional abuse or non-verbal violence, even, sometimes the parents don't speak to each other for months, and they use the child as a messenger. Go tell your dad, mama needs this. Go tell your mother, my room is not clean. All those things. When the child is witnessing all these things, there is a sense of conflict and confusion happening, because now the home that was supposed to provide peace and a conducive, environment for the growth of the personality of the child has actually become a hammer. And now the child really doesn't know where to go, whom to go to. So this is the first thing that gets affected. And also it can be many factors, but I'm just very, generally covering each stage, because I feel these three are very important. Now, if a child does not feel safe in her or his home environment, this child usually becomes a backbencher. It's not that by coincidence we have backbenchers. It's not that by coincidence people want to hide. There is a subconscious programming that has happened. Every single human being longs for appreciation, love, care, and wants to be noticed. It is intrinsically our nature to want to be noticed. So if a child has become a backbencher, it can be for two reasons. One, no one cares. So what is the point of even being seen? It's better I find a tribe who will accept me with all my flaws and for who I am, and with them I will show my true self. And mind you, that's not the true self. That usually is the rebellious self, which is overshadowed the other side of the child. Or it can be that the child has witnessed so much of, abuse at home. The child decides it's better that I hide. I don't want to be seen, because every time I'm seen, I have been questioned, I have been judged, and I have been hurt. So it is not because the child is naughty that the child wants to go and sit at the back. It is because the child is so wounded that it doesn't want to be seen. Now, coming to the next stage of development, which is between the age 7 to 14, where the child is learning to understand, okay, I'm also a part of a community. There is a family. Till then, the child is very consumed by the parents, and that is the safe haven, if at all it is safe. And we are not really blaming parents. They are doing the best they can. They're doing the best they know, and they're actually repeating what happened to them. So we can't really say that parents are at fault, but there is a lack of education. Parents need to be educated. They need to be told what is to be done. And it is a part of our system and in every society. It's not India or Asia. It is everywhere. I have had workshops in Netherlands. I've had workshops in Canada. I have had workshops in Dubai. Everywhere we are having the same system of raising children. And unfortunately, it's not working very well. We can see as a society that we are. Now, the next stage is where the child is coming out of the, the so-called safe haven and realizing there's a bigger group. I can belong to a bigger community. A sense of community, a sense of wanting to belong to a whole sets it. But now what happens is, if the child has been compromised in her or his sense of safety during the first stages, the child cannot trust the community. The child is continuously wondering if I'm accepted for who I am by my community, or is it that I need to behave in a certain way to be accepted? Because we as human beings, we need to belong. We are social animals. We need to interact. We have this desire, this innate need for actually deep connections, because we want to understand ourselves, and others are our mirrors to help us understand. And this, the subconscious mind or the soul understands it very well. So it tries to find its tribe or form its tribe. So what happens is, if the sense of safety, security, and trust is not there, then the child does not feel honored and respected. The child becomes a people pleaser now. Now the child will believe in sacrificing, compromising, lack of expression, stops the creativity, because it wants to watch and understand in this community, how should I be in order to be accepted? So the sense of honor is now not coming because I am, let's say, Sahar, and I deserve to be a part of this community, because even if I'm a child, I can still contribute to it. I can cause people to laugh, I can dance, I can do whatever. I can be myself and bring joy to this community. Now that is already tarnished. Now the child needs to do things in order to belong to this community. And that is where the honor is actually, the honor for self is not there. I am only feeling honored if I'm appreciated, accepted, and I conform to the belief system of a society or a culture, even if that does not serve me. Let's say a child is a very creative child, but is being brought up in a very, highly academic family, where education is everything and anything to do with arts is a waste of time. Now, this child is compromised in the sense of self-honor, confidence. The child will never be self-motivated. The engine of self-motivation is totally shut down. Now, only appreciation from the outside will help this child. So these children, they become perfectionists. They grow up to procrastinate, never do anything they desire. They start a project with a lot of enthusiasm, they can never complete it. They get into work, corporate or work culture. Initially, they are high on energy, and after sometimes, because everyone is busy doing their job and everyone wants to do the best they can, so there's no time to appreciate each other, all the time. Now this person feels, oh my God, there's so much to do to be a part of this, let's say, team, and I don't think I'm good enough, because what the child was as a creative artist, if the child was supposed to be, couldn't pursue it. So at a subconscious level knows, this is not my gift. Finance is not my gift. I have done it because everyone in my family is a chartered accountant or a CA or actuarian or something like that. So in order to be appreciated and approved, I need to be at that level. So by the sheer willpower, we achieve what they want from us to achieve. But the truth is that really me? And if it is not me, I can never grow, right? Now, the next stage is a sense of individuality. So we have covered safety, we have covered the need to belong, and then conforming to the society and letting go of who we are in order to be appreciated and loved by the society and feel safe, because home was not safe. Now, at least I need to have an environment which is safe, okay? So now coming to individuality. From age 14 to 21, it's the teenage has come, and everyone is experiencing their body, their emotions, the rush of hormones. They want to know who they are. They want to find their tribe with whom they can be who they really are. And now they want to also say to everyone else that, no, even I know what to do. It's not that only you do. So now the thought is there. Consciously, everyone wants to prove himself, but the foundation is not there. So the pillars of individuality and the free will and that this is my decision, this is my choice, are actually been set on a very shaky foundation. And because the foundation is not right, the sense of individuality is either now happening through a superiority complex or an inferiority complex. There is no honor for myself. So how will I bring myself out? How will I have the confidence to tell people who I am? I don't even know who I am by now, because I have continuously been doing what my parents told me to do or showed me to do, even if they didn't tell me, or the society wanted me to do. By now, when it has come to express my individuality and take charge of my life, now I'm 14. I really need to know what to do in my studies, what I want to become in life, what career I want to choose, what kind of a person I am. By the age 21, you even want to know what kind of a life partner you want to have, what kind of a lifestyle you want to have. But because no one gave you the opportunity to think and recognize who you are and what you want to be, it wasn't ever safe to be who you wanted to be. Now you are confused. Now you really don't know where you belong, who you are, and what you're supposed to do. So these creates patterns. Now, if I don't know who I am, I cannot have a relationship where I am honest and authentic with my partner, because I don't even know who I am. Now, these patterns carries forward into our relationships in our lives, and it causes us to have, let's say, certain repeated things. Let's say someone comes to me and tells me that, I do my best. I am so good at my job. Everything happens, very well. But my work is never appreciated. And I get so demotivated, I resign. And when I'm resigning, my boss tells me, why are you resigning? You're such a good worker. But for 4 years, he never told me that. And then every time I reach a peak in my career, this used to happen to me. I reach a peak in my career, then I leave that and go to another one. I'm sad, this is a pattern. I don't know how to break it. Now, this is coming from where? This is coming from childhood. They come from my sense of who you are, Another thing can be that, I had a lady who said, I actually get into relationships with gentlemen who are not so gentle. And as we got talking, she talks that, actually, I feel my love can change them. And I said, okay, who told you that your love can change other people? She said, my grandmother and my mother both believed in the same thing. Now you see how the child has picked up certain belief which does not even belong, but because who observed it. Now what happened here is that she, in order to prove her self-worth and say, I belong to this generation of, great women whose love can change anyone, she picked up on the belief that I need to pick up any bad guy, not bad guy, but someone who wasn't so kind to her. And then my love, my deep sense of love and my sacrifices will change them. And it was a pattern. She had done that 4 times. So these are the underlying patterns, belief system, which we pick up from our childhood. And then we create a reality we don't know from where it has come. So when I tell people, like people write messages to me or email to me, this is happening, that is happening. And I say that you need to change your belief system for you to change your environment. The first thing is a setback. No, but I don't think that way. I believe in love. I believe in sacrifices. And I'm like, okay, we need to stop there. Because your belief system that I need to sacrifice in order to be worthy of love or care or to be heard has already created your reality. That's where we need to change things, right? So this is inner child. And this is how we create patterns unknowingly. We pick up stuff from the environment, we base a reality on it, and then we keep repeating that reality. We are recycling our belief system in different variations, and we don't know from where the life is hitting us, not knowing everything is within us. So basically, this is about inner child and the stages of inner child. And I believe we can do a small little exercise like a meditation, and let's understand if we can break at least one pattern today. So I would give 1 or 2 minutes to everyone, have a genuine, honest reflection of where you are in life. And if you have a pattern that you wish to break, let's say you feel some kind of competition even with your sibling, that you feel my sibling is better than me, or you feel at work you're not heard, or you're not being paid your due for whatever you do. I don't know, whatever is your pattern. Just think of any pattern. It doesn't have to be so complicated because it's a short session. So now, how do we heal this inner child if you don't have a therapist around? If there is no one to take you into, so this is one of the techniques. There are like about 40, 50 techniques of it. So what if you don't have someone with you, or you can't trust anyone to open up to, or you just can't go to a therapist for certain personal limitations, financial issues. So how do you actually help yourself, right? This whole session is about me trying to get you to become more empowered. There are a few things you can do. You can start journaling your patterns, whether it's a relationship pattern, it's a business decision making, whether it is in your job, career, your thoughts, your repeating inner dialogue about you. You can journal them. Once they come into surface and you become aware of them, you can imagine 50% of the job is done. Usually once they come to your knowledge, then you're just a simple decision and a willingness to change them. And then watching yourself, bringing the change that you require into your intention, your inner dialogue, and your action towards yourself and environment can actually help you change the whole scenario. 50% of the times it's a little deeper, and probably then you need someone like me to help you with, but that's okay. Even if you can handle 50% of your inner child, you have done a great job. Now, but once you journal and once things show up for you, what is the way forward? The way forward and the only way to be able to heal yourself is through self-love and compassion. Now, what do I mean by that? I simply mean that you be kind to yourself. You stop blaming, stop having feeling of shame, guilt, and regret for whatever happened in the past. Sometimes we feel we have hurt people. Sometimes we feel we didn't honor the family, or we went against the family, or sometimes we feel my actions were not in alignment with what was desired. I have let them down, or I have let myself down. But you need to realize that everything that happens in life, me sitting here in front of you, I'm a great box of blunders, and I'm so proud of them. Not because I made them or they happened, but because I managed to learn from them and learn not to repeat them. As long as you see yourself with honesty, as long as you genuinely feel you do have a better version, of course you do have. And as long as you genuinely want to change and you want to improvise on what you do, how you think, how you talk, even if you're just trying, it is good enough. How do we easily forgive others? Let's say you're someone you love. You usually forgive them once, twice, 3 times. Your children, you forgive them. Your siblings, your whoever. We usually forgive people very easily. But when it comes to self, there is this, I would say, a notion that we have to be perfect. There is no one who is perfect. There is no one who can figure out life all at once. There is no one who has all the answers. The answers are within, but your conscious mind is not yet aware of it. So because we cannot be perfect, and there is nothing called perfect, I want you to be kind to yourself, to genuinely, honestly, truthfully sit down and understand where all you are doing whatever it is not serving you. Whatever happened in the past, what feelings are associated with them? If it is guilt, if it is shame, if it is regret, these are actually really ugly feelings. You don't need to carry them. If it is sadness, anger, they're also harmful. Probably you can let go of them. You just release them by journaling, by doing a positive self-talk, maybe meditation and mindfulness will help. And if there are good feelings, you did something nice, acknowledge them. You did an act of kindness. You reached out to a person in need. You gave your time to someone who needed your advice or suggestion, or just a shoulder or just an ear to listen to their story because they felt so lonely. These are amazing things about you. So you acknowledge them. Self-compassion and self-love is your doorway to great relationships. Everyone, including myself, if there is something happening in our relationship and our environment which is not so pleasant, or there are things that we cannot understand, is coming back to all these belief systems. And the fact that the inner child in you is unable to forgive itself for the mistakes that happen. Now, inner child can be even 40-year-old man or woman. I told you the inner child is the span of this lifetime. So sit down, journal them, let them go. Know that there are different categories of emotions. You need to deal with them differently. And allow yourself to become open and willing to forgive yourself. If you can do this much, you have resolved your life. And this is the only way forward. There's no other way. No amount of achieving amazing results, no amount of, billions of money in your bank account, no amount of, happening life partners can actually change the way you feel about yourself deep down. If you're really honest with yourself, then you realize these things are temporary. How you feel about yourself determines the quality of your life, and not a superficial superiority complex feeling that, I'm great, or I'm doing this. Not that. When no one is around, when you're alone, in that moment when you're wondering, why can't I figure out this part of my life? What is wrong with me? In that moment of truth, if you recognize what is wrong, not wrong, but what you have not yet discovered about yourself, and if you can change it with love and compassion, that's where you can sort your life, and then you can give this love and compassion out. Other than that, all that you're doing is you're people pleasing. So what is happening? Your inner child is becoming more wounded. The wounds are becoming deeper because all of that you're doing is a very superficial level of self-acceptance and self-love. Your cup is empty. You have nothing to offer. So you're digging too deep to get out something which is not inside of you. And me sitting in front of you has done all of that. And it's coming from experience, not only of working with so many clients, but also working a lot on myself. So I think this is all that I have to talk about inner child today. You let me know if there are any questions. I'm Dr. Sandeep, Dr. Ranjan will help me go through the questions and I can probably answer a few questions. Thank you. For recording, I think Dr. Sandeep or Dr. Ranjan can do. I really can't do that. You can put your questions in the chat box if anyone has a question, and then probably I can answer them. There are case study books. Actually, probably they are not really, how do I say? Inner child has 16 different aspects and has about 100 way of dealing with it, like techniques. And every book would probably cover one aspect. Let's say when the father got angry. This is one book, but it's only dealing with children who went through a very aggressive paternal authority in their life. So because it's a very vast topic, I'm not sure if the books will help you, but I can probably put it on the spiritual doctors group. I can give you a list, but what I talked about is coming from my own manual for my trainings. I use this information. I've created the manual for training and I use it to train my therapists. Any further questions, anyone?
I think, sir, you have answered all the questions, so people are asking.
That's really nice. I'm glad.
Friends, if you have any question that can be personal or any question from Sahar, or if you want to connect with Sahar also, there is a email ID and the website is there. You can connect with Sahar anytime. You can join her workshops.
Okay, can I answer this question? Someone has written, Smitha, I really want to know, during my self-knowing, I feel I'm not able to help my child. How can I prevent my child from getting into the same pattern? It depends what you mean by saying I can't help my child. Because you're already holding the space, you're providing a life for your child. And if you could be a little more specific, what do you mean by I can't help my child? And actually, children don't need help. They just need a conducive space for growth. They know what to do with themselves. Can inner child work be done by the person himself? Yes, it can be, but it's going to be very, very limited. As I said, there are more than 100 techniques of dealing with inner child. And depending on the depth of the issue, let's say if it is a sexual abuse, you definitely can't do it on your own. You will just open the wound if at all you can, and then you leave it bleeding, right? So I really suggest, even though there are therapies available, probably, I mean, not therapies, but sessions available on maybe YouTube or somewhere, but don't get into such a stuff on your own. The whole idea is to be able to see the wound, heal it, clean it, close it in such a way that it will not come back and show up again. So if you don't know how to do all of that, because it's a therapy, it's not entertainment. So if you don't know how to do that, you will actually end up feeling more frustrated, and more patterns will open up for you, and then you may not know how to handle it. So initially, at least, I don't suggest, but later on, maybe once you get a hang of it. But for smaller things, let's say a belief pattern or something like that, yes. But for deeper issues, I really suggest, I don't advise it, but it's a personal choice. You feel you want to do it, you do it. Yes, your past mistakes can have development effect on your child, no doubt about it, but you need to realize that even the child chose to go through those experiences. What happens and where we go wrong with our children is that we feel we are the god of their lives. We are not. We are just parents. We are a tool to help them come into this physical reality and hold their space, provide them a safer space to do what they are supposed to do, to add to life, to find who they are, and just evolve. This is the whole purpose of the whole of existence, not for your child or my child or anyone's child, but for the entire existence. Now, what happens with children and where we go really, really wrong is that we feel we are their God. We need to know from the beginning who they will become, what career they will have, how much money they should have, what kind of life partner they should choose. Every single experience we want to micromanage. But you need to realize your child is a much evolved soul than you are, because it has come, let's say, 30 years after you. So the whole of consciousness has evolved. Now this new soul is coming with that collective 30 years of consciousness, which is ahead of you, right? So the soul knows what to do. And if the child has chosen you as a parent, it is because the child knew exactly what kind of experiences you're going to provide, which was for its own evolution. Now we're talking about soul level of the child, right? So please, the guilt that I have caused my child pain, I did that, and because of me this has happened. You would be an instrument, but you could do nothing wrong to no one unless it was chosen by that person. Okay, so it is for your child also, for anyone else. But now that doesn't mean we go on a spree and start hurting and harming others and doing stuff which are not pleasant. We need to be aware of our intention, words, and action. But at the same time, the guilt is actually a false emotion. You cannot cause nothing to no one if they didn't want to experience it. And I mean it, because I have worked with 8,000 people. And every single case of guilt is such a superficial, harmful feeling. It is really a facade and a farce. You should let go of your guilt and then just change. Okay, this is what I did, which I feel has affected my child. I should not repeat it. That's it. That's all you need to do, whether it's your child or anyone else. So please do not have this kind of emotions, because they're not going to help you or the child or no one. Thank you. Thank you for liking the lecture. That's my pleasure, totally. So I think I have kind of answered all the questions in the chat box.
Yes, thank you, sir, for giving us time. Today's session was really amazing session, and thanks for connecting with us. Actually, many persons are not aware about the inner child and how to heal inner child. So today's session was kind of little opening that someone can see that yes, there is some need is there. And one more thing I must appreciate, that what have opened for me is that for me the inner child was the child who is just 14 years 15 years old when I was and I was always looking for the traumas and what happened during my that stages. But today you have opened a new platform, new avenue also, that inner child is not just that age, it can be any age.
Yes.
So anytime we are attending your sessions, last time we have learned more about the chakra system, that chakras are not just chakras around our body, there are frontal chakras, back chakras and other things also. This was also something new for our audience. सो प्लीज आप हमें ऐसे ही गाइड करते रहिए और नई नई बातें बताते रहिए फ्रेंड्स. हमारा जो इनर चाइल्ड का आज का सेशन है ये यहीं पे खत्म होता है. आज के चिल्ड्रन डे पे आप फिर से अपने आप के साथ बैठिए और साहर ने जैसे बोला आपको, आप जर्नलिंग करना स्टार्ट कीजिए, बिकॉज इट्स नॉट जस्ट ए वन डे वर्क, यू हैव टू वर्क डेली एंड यू नीड सम गुड थेरेपिस्ट आल्सो इफ यू वांट टू वर्क डीपली. So, last words from you, Sar. After that, we can complete and finish our session.
Yeah, I would like to close this by saying that each one of us actually deserve the best of life. And each one of us, by virtue of just existing, deserves to have a fulfilled life. It is only your choice and your sense of deservability and self-worth that determines how much of this beautiful buffet of life, which is full of love, which is full of kindness, which is full of abundance, you want to receive. So if there is somewhere something not happening for you the way you desire it to be, not want it to be. Want is lack, but the way you desire it to be, you are the only one standing in your own way. So just a step back, watch what is it about you that is causing this, and just change it. You are in charge of your life. You are totally empowered. And thank you for having me. Thank you so much for having me. It has been an honor and a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, friends. With these words, हम आपसे इजाजत चाहते हैं. नेक्स्ट वीक फिर हमसे मिलेंगे 11:11 पे. तब तक आप अपने रास्ते से हट जाइए और अपने आप को और आगे बढ़ने दें. बी एम्पावर्ड, खुश रहिए, अपने आप से प्यार कीजिए. इसी के साथ हम आपसे विदा चाहते हैं. थैंक यू वेरी मच.
Thank you.